Hello, it's me again, Eric P. Today's episode is called the Bullwinkle incident, and it's all about like a team building weekend. What happens is this guy named Brad, Brandon's his full name, but everyone just calls him Brad. Typical sleazy boss. He hires a cabin up in the Colorado Rockies, up in the mountains in the US. And the idea is to have a team building weekend. What he's going to do is he's going to have like a fancy dress party on the first night when they all arrive. And then the next day they're all going to go out paintballing, working in teams, typical stuff. Anyway, he has two accountants that work for him, and that's Norman and his wife Anthea, and that's pretty much who today's story's about. Because it's a fancy dress party, Anthea and Norman there, they decide to dress as Rocky and Bullwinkle, which is the theme of the story. So yeah, if you've never seen Rocky and Bullwinkle, it's like an old cartoon. One's like a giant moose or an elk or whatever, with a great singing voice. And then the other one's Rocky, his sidekick, who's a flying squirrel. And he walks around with a little leather flying helmet with goggles on. So that's like the theme. Anyway, this boss has rented the cabin off the sheriff. So what I'll do is I'll start the story from the actual party when they get to the main cabin. So we'll take it from there. I'll show you a quick picture and then we'll start the party. Right, here we go. Right, yeah, the sheriff's at the party. It was all kicking off. They were all in the stupid costumes. So the sheriff's get himself a big sort of like glass of punch. So he's just filling his glass. And Brad, the boss, is wandering over to him saying, "Oh, thanks for the cabin. You're doing a great job with this place. Really getting going, the party now. Thanks for renting us the cabin." And the sheriff's like, "Gee, no problem, buddy. Yeah. You were lucky to get the cabin, would have been hunting season and all." And Brad's like, yeah, no. Yeah, we do appreciate it. So yeah, you just fill your glass with punch. Don't forget to have a few sandwiches. And I'll see you a bit later on. So yeah, Brad walks off there. And in the corner, you've got Norman and his wife, Anthea, from accounts. And like I said, they're dressed as Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they're knocking the drinks back there. And Norman turns around to his wife saying, "Oh, flipping heck, I'm getting sick of this, I didn't want to come on this team building weekend. I was happy just staying back in the UK. I don't know why we've come here." And Anthea's like, "Look, you've got to come, you've got to be part of the team. It's all part of it, these team building weekends. The boss has gone to a lot of trouble with us. You can't really say no, can you?" And Norman's like, "Yeah, I don't suppose I can say no. To be honest, though, I've been feeling a bit sick after all that punch. I've started to feel a bit queasy, to be honest. Do you fancy a walk?" And Anthea's like, "Well, yeah, come on, we'll go for a walk. The moon's out and everything else. You can see out there. We won't get lost." So they both start heading towards the door. And in the other corner, you've got a guy that's about 6'8", and he's dressed as a Yeti. He's in his Bigfoot costume. And he originally he's from near Wolverhampton. So one of the women out the office, she walks up to him. She says, "Oh, hiya, Gavin. I like your costume." He's like, "Yeah, no, yeah. Well, these good costume, isn't it? I looked in the mirror this morning, even I thought it was Bigfoot." So the girl's like, "Yeah, you look flipping brilliant. I don't know where you got that costume, but it's pretty flash." She said, "I'm just dressed like a maid." She said, "My costume's a bit dull, really." He says, "No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's all right. Yeah. To be honest, I might be going for a walk. I'm getting sick of it in here. It's a bit warm, all this furry costume, like, you know what I mean?" The girl's like, "Well, yeah, if you go for a walk, you best be careful. You don't want to get lost out in them woods." He says, "Oh, it'll be all right. I'll just whiz out the back in a minute and go for a bit of a walk, like, you know what I mean?" So the girl's like, "Right, well, okay, then I'll see you a bit later then." So Gavin just goes stumbling around, disappears out the back door, and he goes for his bit of a walk. Anyway, at this time, Anthea's gone out the front with her husband, Norman, and they're wandering there, looking up at the moon. They think, "Oh, it's beautiful out here, isn't it? Isn't it really nice?" So they just set off on the walk. They think, "Well, we've got about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we should be fine." Anyway, a couple of hours later, a few of the other workers go over to the boss, Brad, and they say, "Look, Norman and his wife, Anthea, they went for a walk before and they've not returned. They said they've been gone for like an hour. Do you not think somebody should go out and check on them? They might have been eaten by a bear or something." So the boss is like, "Oh, bloody hell, I'm enjoying my punch here. Do we have to, oh, well, whatever. I'll go and have a word with the sheriff and we'll go and see if we can find them just to be on the safe side. I don't really want them getting eaten by a bear or anything. It's not easy to come by, accountants. I don't want to be rehiring, do I? Right, yeah, I'll go and have a word with the sheriff. So he goes over to the sheriff, who's knocked quite a few back at this time, and he says, Sheriff, he said, do you mind having a quick look round and seeing if you can find me workers? I've lost 2 accountants. They've gone for like a bit of a walk, but they've been gone quite a while now, so best check on them. Don't want to get sued or anything. So the sheriff's like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, just give me 5 minutes and we'll go and have a look for them. So, right. I'll cut now to the big search. So, right, we'll just have a little splice here. Right, here we go. Yeah, the sheriff and Brad are walking along there. The sheriff's got his torch out. They're walking through the woods. There's another couple with them. You've got the one dressed as a maid, and you got this other guy in like a butler outfit. And he's walking along with them, having a look and see if they can find him. So they're walking along this track there. Anyway, they hear the crack of a gun. You just hear, 2 cracks. Someone firing rifles. And they think, oh, bloody hell, we best check on this. So they go wandering through this little patch of like bushes and stuff. And they come to these hunters in like lumberjack stuff carrying rifles. And they got like a pickup truck with them. And the sheriff's like, hey, you're not seeing like... 2 people come this way, have you? One's dressed like a moose and the other one's dressed like a squirrel. And this hunter guy's like, oh, what do you mean dressed? Anyway, the sheriff looks to the side with his torch and he's, oh, what a sight. You've just got like this one in the squirrel costume with a flying helmet's lying there over like this giant Bullwinkle who stood there not moving. They've both been shot by the hunters. There's no signs of life in them. And the sheriff's like, bloody hell, how the bloody hell have you ended up shooting these? I mean, when's the last time you saw a 5-foot squirrel with a bloody flying hat and goggles on? As if that's a bloody squirrel. And the bloke's like, well, I've had a few to drink tonight, I've had a few lagers. He said, don't matter whether you've had a few lagers or not, you should still be able to bloody see a 5-foot squirrel with a flying helmet on. That's obviously not a bloody squirrel. And the hunter's like, and the hunter's mate chips in. He says, well, we do get cryptids around here. It could be like, we thought it was like a monster type one. And the sheriff's like, bloody hell. As if that's a bloody, what the bloody hell? I've never seen anything like it. How the bloody hell can you mistake these 2? As if he looks like a real bloody elk or a moose. Look at him. He's about bloody 6'2". And he's walking on 2 legs. Or should I say it was till you bloody shot him. Anyway, Brad's in the background, he's shaking his head, he's thinking, bloody hell, he said, I'm going to get proper sued for this. And I'm going to have to call the employment agency and get myself a couple of new accountants. This is going to be a bloody nightmare, this. So, yeah, it's a right mess. The girl who's dressed as a maid, she's just in total shock, her mouth open, she can't believe it. And the other guy who's had quite a few to drink, the one dressed as a butler, he stood behind him, he's shaking his head, he's thinking, oh, this doesn't look good. And then the maid goes, bloody hell, she said, Gavin went out for a walk before as well. I think we best have a look for him. And the sheriff's like, bloody hell, what's Gavin dressed as? And she said, he's dressed like Bigfoot. He looks like a Yeti, he's about 6'8". And then all of a sudden, you hear a loud crack of a gun again. And the guy who's dressed as a butler's in the background said, bloody hell, I think they've just got Gavin. So, yeah, it looks like Gavin's been shot as well. Anyway, the sheriff turns round to like Brad and he says, look, he said, I know this is probably a wrong time to ask, but you're not going to give me a bad review, have you? I'm trying to rent these cabins out. One bad review could ruin me. Could you not, give me 5 stars anyway? I know this is a little bit inconvenient, but I do need those 5 stars. Anyway, I don't think Brad gave him the 5 stars. I think they got a bit of a bad review. The hunters in that area are obviously a little bit trigger happy. I don't think wandering around the woods is a good idea during hunting season. Not in that bloody area. Right, yeah, I just thought I'd tell you about this. I hope you enjoyed it. A bit different. But yeah, I always used to like Rocky and Bullwinkle. I'd hate it if they got shot. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'll see you again next week. Well, I won't see you, but I'll record another video. You get the drift, don't you? Right, see you later. Bye.